The storm on planet Avara was not normal. The sky was dark purple. Cold wind moved like sharp knives. Snow and silver dust filled the air. No human should have been outside that night. But Ethan Cole was. His small research ship had crashed in. The mountains, the engine failed, the signal was gone. His suit was damaged. Each step felt heavy. His breath was weak. He told himself to stay awake. Then he saw something strange. Through the white fog, he noticed a soft blue light. At first he thought it was a machine, but the light moved. White feathers flowed from her head down her back. Her eyes were large and silver, shining even in the storm. Her wings were folded behind her body. They looked strong, but gentle. She was not afraid of him. She watched him carefully. Ethan tried to speak, but his voice was broken by the wind. He fell to his knees. The last thing he saw was her feathers glowing softly as she moved toward him. When he opened his eyes, he was warm. He was inside a cave. A soft blue fire burned in the center. The walls were smooth and clean. The storm. Sound was far away now. He turned his head slowly. She was sitting across from him, the feathered alien girl. She was watching him quietly. Her face showed no anger, no fear, only curiosity. Ethan tried to sit up, but pain hit his side. She moved closer. Her hands were warm. She gently touched the tear in his suit. She cleaned his wound with a glowing liquid from a small stone bowl. He looked into her eyes. They were calm. He pointed to himself. "Ethan." She tilted her head. Then she placed her hand on her chest. She made a soft sound. It sounded like a lira. He smiled weakly. They did not share the same language, but they did not need many words. The storm outside grew louder. The cave became darker. She added more blue stones to the fire. The light from the flames touched her feathers, making them shine like snow. Under moonlight, Ethan felt strange. Every time she came close, a soft warmth moved through his body, not from the fire. From her, at one moment, their hands touched by accident. A small spark of light moved between their skin. Both of them pulled back quickly. She looked at her hand, then at him. Her feathers glowed a little brighter. Something was happening. But neither of them understood it. Hours passed. The storm did not stop. Small fruits and warm liquid from a stone cup. He drank slowly. She stayed near him. Not too close, but close enough to keep him warm. At one point, the cave grew very cold as the fire became smaller. Without speaking, she moved beside him. She wrapped one wing gently around his shoulders. Her feathers were soft. Warmer than his suit. He froze for a moment. But he was too tired to think. He allowed himself to rest. Her heartbeat was slow and steady. He felt safe. Outside, the storm screamed across the mountains. Inside, there was only quiet breathing and blue firelight. During the night, something unusual happened. Her feathers began to glow brighter. A soft silver light filled the cave. Ethan opened his eyes slightly. He saw her face close to his. Her eyes were closed. The light moved slowly from her body toward him. Like energy, like life. It did not hurt. It felt peaceful. He reached out without thinking. His hand rested over her heart. The light pulsed once, strong, then faded. The cave became normal again. He did not understand what had happened. But he felt different. When morning came, the storm had stopped. Sunlight entered the cave. Ethan slowly stood up. His strength had returned more than expected. His wound was almost healed. That was not normal. She stood near the cave entrance, looking at the sky. Then suddenly, shadows moved outside. Heavy footsteps, voices, sharp metallic sounds. She stiffened. Feathered warriors. Their wings were larger. Their armor was dark and sharp. Spears made of crystal and bone rested in their hands. Their eyes locked on Ethan. cold, dangerous. One of them shouted something in their language. The sound echoed in the cave. Ethan stepped back. He was not ready to die after surviving the storm. But then, she moved. Illyra stepped in front of him. She spread her wings wide, protecting him. The warriors looked shocked. They spoke loudly to her. Angry voices filled the cave. She did not move. Her feathers glowed softly again. Then he looked at Illyra. Silence filled the space. Something ancient. The leader lowered his spear slowly. Ethan did not understand their words, but he felt the tension change. This was not just about saving the human from a storm. It was about what happened inside this cave. One night, one storm, one strange connection, and neither of them knew that this night would change two worlds forever. The village of the feathered tribe stood high on the cliffs of Avara. Their homes were carved into white stone. Long bridges of woven crystal connected each tower. Wind moved through the feathers hanging from the rooftops, making soft music. But that morning, there was no music. Only tension. Ethan stood in the center of the village, surrounded by warriors. Their silver eyes watched him closely. He was not tied, but he was not free. Illyra stood beside him. Her wings were folded, but her feathers were still glowing faintly from the night before. The tribe leader stepped forward. He was taller than the others. His feathers were darker, almost gray. Understood the mood. This was serious. Very serious. An older female stepped forward. Her feathers were thin and long. She carried a small staff made of crystal bone. She looked at Illyra carefully. Then she looked at Ethan. Her eyes widened. She whispered something to the leader. The warriors shifted uneasily. Illyra stepped closer to Ethan without thinking. That small action caused murmurs across the crowd. The leader raised his hand for silence. He turned to Ethan and spoke slowly, using broken Galactic common. "You stayed night with her?" Ethan swallowed. "Yes," he answered. The tribe reacted loudly. Some warriors slammed their spears. During moon cycle, Ethan did not understand that. The elder female stepped forward again. She tried to speak in clearer words. "Our females, during red moon, change." She touched her chest. Energy opens. Bond forms. Ethan felt his heart. Ancient law. A heavy silence fell. Ethan realized something terrible. He had broken a sacred rule. Not by choice. Not by knowing, but by surviving. The leader walked in a slow circle around him. "Normally," he said calmly, "punishment is death." The word hit Ethan like ice. The warriors tightened their grip on their weapons, but Illyra suddenly moved. She stepped in front of Ethan. Again, she spread her wings wide. Her feathers flashed bright silver. The light was stronger than before. The entire village became quiet. The elder female stared at Illyra in shock. The leader looked from her to Ethan. She said softly. Ethan looked confused. "What is happening?" he asked. The leader stared at him for a long moment. Then he spoke slowly. "During moon cycle, female chooses mate by energy. Choice is light." He pointed at Illyra. Her feathers were glowing. Again. Soft, steady, strong. The elder female stepped closer to Ethan. She placed her hand near his chest. Then near Illyra's. A faint spark jumped between them. The same spark from the cave. Gasps filled the air. The elder female looked pale. Human life force mixed. The tribe began whispering again. The leader looked troubled now. This was not anger anymore. It was fear. Ethan felt cold even under the sunlight. What does that mean? Something has begun. The leader turned away and walked toward the highest platform in the village. He looked at the sky. "The law says death for outsider." He paused. "But the law also says, protect sacred bond." The warriors looked confused at two ancient rules were now fighting each other. Illyra walked slowly to stand beside the leader. She looked at Ethan. Not with fear. Not with regret. With certainty. She made a soft sound in her language. The leader listened. Carefully. He closed his eyes. Then he faced the tribe. His voice echoed across the cliffs. The human will not die. Shock spread through the warriors. He will leave. More whispers. If bond is false, nothing changes. Ethan did not like the sound of that. Return for what? The elder female walked toward Elira. She examined her feathers closely. There were faint streaks of soft brown among the white. That color did not belong to their species. It looked almost human. The elder female looked worried. This change is too fast. He stepped closer. If the bond awakens fully, the sky itself will call you back. Ethan did not understand those words, but they stayed in his mind. 2 warriors escorted him to the edge of the village. His damaged ship had been repaired. He looked back one last time. Elira stood on the highest cliff. Wind moved through her glowing feathers. She did not wave. She simply watched him leave. As his ship lifted into the sky, something strange happened. Elira placed her hand over her heart. A soft pulse of silver light spread outward. Far above the planet, inside Ethan's chest, a faint warmth answered. Neither of them knew what it meant, but the elder female stood in silence, watching the sky, whispering only one word: egg. 1 month passed. Ethan tried to forget planet Avara. He returned to Earth Station 7. The metal halls felt cold and empty compared to the living cliffs of the feathered tribe. Machines hummed. Lights blinked. Everything was normal, but he was not. At night, he saw silver feathers in his dreams. He remembered the cave, the blue fire, the soft glow. And the spark between them. He told himself it meant nothing. Just strange alien biology. Just stress from the crash. Nothing more. But his body felt different. Sometimes his chest felt warm for no reason. Sometimes he heard a soft sound in his mind, like distant wind. He ignored it until the message came. It arrived without warning. No official channel. No military code. It came as a simple pulse signal. Ancient frequency. Avara. Frequency. Ethan was the only one who could read it. The station commander looked confused. How did they get our private line? She asked. Ethan did not answer. The message had only 4 translated words. Return. The egg grows. He felt his stomach drop. Egg? His mind moved back to the elder's whisper. Something has begun. His hands felt cold. He left the station. That same day. No long report. No long talk. Just one small ship and one destination. Planet Avara. When he entered the planet's orbit, something was wrong. The sky looked darker. Energy storms moved in circles. Above the cliffs, the air shimmered with strange light. His ship sensors blinked with errors. Power levels across the region were rising. That was impossible. The feathered tribe had no advanced technology. He landed near the village. Warriors were waiting, but they did not hold spears at his throat this time. They looked tense. Worried. The leader stepped forward. You came, he said simply. Ethan nodded. What is happening? The leader did not answer right away. He turned and motioned for Ethan to follow. The village felt different. No music in the wind. No normal movement. Everyone watched Ethan as he passed, some with fear, some with hope. They entered the sacred cave, the same cave. The blue fire burned brighter than before, but it was not the fire that shocked Ethan. It was what stood behind it. In the center of the cave, resting on smooth stone, was a massive egg. It was taller than Ethan's waist. Its surface was smooth silver with lines of soft brown running across it, the same brown shade that had appeared in Elira's feathers. The egg pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. The air around it felt warm. Alive. Ethan stepped closer without thinking. The moment he moved near, the egg reacted. Light flashed across its surface. The pulse became stronger. The entire cave vibrated softly. Warriors stepped back. Murmurs filled the chamber. The elder female stepped forward. "It responds only to you," she said quietly. Ethan stared at the egg. "That's not possible." The leader spoke slowly. "In our history, eggs are small, always small." He looked at the glowing shell. "This is not small." Elira stood beside the egg. Her feathers were no longer pure white. Silver and brown mixed through them now. Her eyes met Ethan's. There was no fear in them, only certainty. Ethan felt the warmth in his chest. Again, stronger this time. He reached his hand out. Slowly. The elder gasped. The warriors to eat and Sichi. His fingers touched the shell. The reaction was immediate. A bright wave of silver light moved through the cave. The egg pulsed hard once. Then again, Ethan felt something move inside. His mind. Not words. Not images. But awareness. As if something inside the shell knew him. His hand trembled. He pulled it back. "What is this?" he asked quietly. The elder answered in a low voice. "Our kind believes life chooses its own form." She looked at Ethan carefully. "Your energy changed her." She nodded toward Elira. And together, something new was created. Ethan shook his head. "I don't understand." "We only survived a storm." The elder's eyes softened. "Life does not need long time. Only the right moment." The leader stepped closer. "There is more." Ethan looked up. The leader's expression was dark. "The Sky Tribes have sensed it." "Sky Tribes?" Ethan asked. "Other clans, other worlds," the leader said. "They feel the energy. They think it is a weapon." Ethan looked back at the egg. It pulsed gently, not like a weapon, like a child. "What do they want?" he asked. The leader's voice was cold. "To destroy it, or to take it." Silence filled the cave. The egg pulsed again, this time softer, almost protective. Elira stepped closer to Ethan. Their shoulders touched. The warmth returned between them. The elder whispered something ancient. Then she looked at Ethan. "You were told to return if the bond awakened." Ethan nodded slowly. She pointed at the egg. "The bond is fully awake." The ground shook slightly. Far above the cliffs, a shadow passed across the sky. A large ship. Not human. Not of this tribe. The leader turned toward the cave entrance. "They have arrived sooner than expected." Warriors rushed outside. Wings spread wide. Spears lifted high. Ethan looked once more at the massive egg. It glowed softly in the dark cave. Alive. Connected. Waiting. One night in a storm had created something impossible. And now, the entire galaxy was coming for it. The enemy ship did not attack right away. It hovered above the cliffs, like a dark cloud. Its shape was long and sharp. Blue lights moved across its surface. It was not from the feathered tribe. It was not human either. It was from the Sky Dominion. They were known across the galaxy for one thing. Control. Inside the sacred cave, the massive egg pulsed faster. Each pulse matched the energy waves coming from the sky. Ethan could feel it in his chest, like two hearts beating at once. The tribe leader entered the cave again. His feathers were tense, wings slightly open. "They demand to see it," he said. Ethan looked at him. "See what?" "The egg." Elira stepped closer to the shell. Her hand rested gently on its surface. The egg glowed brighter under her touch. The elder female walked slowly toward Ethan. "There is something you must know," she said. Her voice was calm, but heavy. She carried a small crystal blade, not as a weapon, as a tool. She stopped in front of Ethan. "Our kind does not create large eggs," she explained again. "Our life energy is stable, balanced, controlled." She looked at the egg. "But yours is different." Ethan frowned. "Different how?" "Human blood adapts," she said. "It changes, it pushes forward, it does not stay still." She raised the small blade. Ethan stiffened. She gently touched the tip of the blade to his palm. A small cut opened. A single drop of blood fell. Before it touched the ground, the egg flashed. The drop of blood lifted into the air. It moved like it was alive. It touched the shell. The reaction was instant. Silver and brown light exploded across the surface. The cave shook. The warriors outside shouted in alarm. Ethan felt something, sharp but not painful, move through his body. Not pain. Connection. Inside the shell. Something responded. He heard it clearly this time, not with his ears, inside his mind. Faint sound, like a heartbeat, but stronger. The elder looked shocked. It is already forming awareness, she whispered. The leader stepped forward. What does that mean? The elder answered slowly. It means this is not only feathered life. She looked at Ethan, and not only human. Ethan stared at his bleeding hand. His blood was not normal here. It was fuel. The leader turned toward the cave entrance. The Dominion ship lowered slightly. A beam of blue light touched the cliff edge. 3 tall figures descended from it. They wore dark armor with glowing lines. Their eyes were hidden behind crystal masks. They walked calmly toward the village. No fear. No rush. They believed they were in control. The leader spread his wings wide. This is sacred ground, he warned. The tallest Dominion figure spoke through a metal voice filter. We detected a new energy pattern, it said. It does not belong to this planet. Ethan stepped out of the cave entrance now. He stood beside Alira. The Dominion figure turned its masked face toward him. Human, it said calmly. You are the source. Ethan felt cold air hit his face. I didn't mean to cause anything, he replied. The Dominion figure tilted its head. Meaning is not important. Power is. The elder stepped forward bravely. This life is not yours. The Dominion figure ignored her. Our scanners show unstable hybrid growth, it continued. Such growth creates imbalance. The leader's voice became sharp. Life chooses its own path. The Dominion figure lifted one armored hand. Life must be regulated. Behind it, 2 more soldiers activated small glowing devices, energy weapons. The tribe warriors raised their spears. Wings spread. The air felt ready to break. Inside the cave, the egg pulsed violently. A bright wave of energy burst outward. It knocked several warriors off their feet. The Dominion soldiers stepped back. Their scanners blinked rapidly. Energy spike confirmed. One soldier said. The masked leader looked directly at Ethan again. The hybrid recognizes you. Ethan felt the warmth in his chest become heat. Almost burning. He looked at Alira. She did not look afraid. She looked strong. Her feathers were glowing fully now. Not just silver, not just brown, but mixed. Together. Beautiful and powerful. The Dominion leader spoke one final sentence. You will surrender the egg, or we will remove the threat. The tribe leader stepped forward without hesitation. It is not a threat. The Dominion soldier replied calmly. All evolution is a threat. Silence followed. Wind moved across the cliffs. Feathers lifted in the air. Ethan looked at the egg inside. The cave. He could feel it calling him, not for protection. For presence, for strength. He stepped forward slowly, standing between the Dominion soldiers and the cave. You want the egg? He said. The masked leader nodded slightly. Ethan's eyes hardened. You'll have to go through me. The Dominion soldiers raised their weapons. The tribe warriors spread their wings wider. The sky darkened above. And inside the sacred cave, the hybrid egg cracked for the first time. The crack in the egg was small, but everyone heard it. A sharp sound, like ice breaking on a frozen lake. The Dominion soldiers froze. The tribe warriors looked toward the cave. Ethan felt it inside his chest. The crack was not just on the shell. It was inside him. The massive egg pulsed hard. Light poured from the thin line in its surface. Not wild. Not violent. Alive. The Dominion leader lowered his weapon slightly. Stage 2 development, he said through the metal mask. Faster than predicted. Ethan stepped backward toward the cave entrance. He did not take his eyes off the soldiers. You said it was unstable. Ethan said. It looks strong to me. The Dominion leader tilted his head. Strength without control destroys worlds. The tribe leader stood beside Ethan now. Our world has not been destroyed. Not yet, the Dominion leader replied calmly. Inside the cave, Elira placed both hands on the egg. Her feathers shined brighter than ever. Silver and brown light, mixed together like sunrise and earth. The crack spread slowly. Thin glowing lines moved across the shell like living veins. The elder female entered the cave and knelt beside Elira. It is hatching too soon, she whispered. Elira did not look away from the shell. Her eyes were calm. Certain. Outside, the Dominion soldiers lifted their weapons again. The leader spoke clearly. We will extract the egg for study. Resistance will be answered. The tribe warriors formed a wall with their wings. Spears raised. The wind grew stronger across the cliffs. Ethan felt something shift inside him. He had come to this planet as a visitor. He had crashed here by accident. He had survived one night. But now this was no accident. He walked fully into the open space between both sides. You think it's a weapon? Ethan said. The Dominion leader replied. All new life is a variable. Variables must be measured. Ethan shook his head slowly. You don't measure a child. The Dominion soldier's mask reflected the glowing cave light. You cannot prove it is only a child. Ethan took a deep breath. I don't need to prove it. He looked back at the cave. And Elira. At the glowing egg. I can feel it. The Dominion leader paused. For humans, emotion clouds logic. Ethan gave a small smile. For humans, emotion is logic. The crack inside the egg widened again. A louder sound echoed through the cave. Light burst outward. This time, it did not knock anyone down. It moved like a wave of wind. Gentle. Powerful. The Dominion soldiers' scanners began to spark. Their blue lights flickered. Energy field increasing, one soldier reported. Source not aggressive, another said. Defensive only. The Dominion leader stared at the readings. The egg was not attacking. It was protecting. Protecting. Elira. Protecting Ethan. The leader lowered his weapon completely. This changes the assessment, he said quietly. Ethan did not relax. You said you would remove the threat. The Dominion leader looked at him again. It is not behaving like a threat. Inside the cave, Elira suddenly gasped. The crack split across the top of the shell. A small piece fell away. Blinding silver light filled the cave. The tribe warriors shielded their eyes. Ethan stepped inside without thinking. He ignored the Dominion soldiers, ignored the risk. He walked to Elira's side. The shell continued breaking. Slowly, not exploding. Opening. Like something waking up gently. A small shape moved inside. The light. Ethan felt tears in his eyes. He did not know why, he just felt something powerful. Something right. The Dominion leader walked slowly toward the cave entrance. He did not cross inside. He simply observed. Our data was incomplete, he said softly. The elder female looked at him sharply. You do not understand life through numbers. The Dominion leader did not argue. He looked at Ethan. You are bonded to it. Ethan nodded. Yes. The Dominion leader studied him carefully. Would you allow it to be studied if it meant protection? Ethan thought for a long moment. He looked at Elira. She looked back at him. Trust in her eyes. He turned to the Dominion leader. You will not take it, Ethan said firmly. But if it chooses one day to explore the stars, that will be its choice. Silence filled the cave. The Dominion leader finally nodded. Choice, he repeated. A rare principle. He turned toward his soldiers. We withdraw. Observation. Only. The blue beam above the cliffs slowly lifted. The dark ship began to rise back into the sky. The tribe warriors lowered their spears slowly. Relief moved through the village. Inside the cave, the final piece of the shell cracked open. Light softened. A small figure moved gently within the broken shell, not fully seen yet, but alive. Breathing. Ethan held Elira's hand. He did not know what the future would bring. More enemies. More fear. More change. But one thing was clear now. He had made his choice, and that choice had broken the control of the sky itself. The egg was no longer just a mystery. It was a beginning. The cave was silent. No warriors shouting. No machines humming. No wind screaming outside. Only one sound. Breathing. Soft. New. Alive. The broken shell of the massive egg lay open like silver petals. Warm light still glowed inside it. The air felt gentle, like early morning after a long storm. Ethan stood frozen. Elira knelt beside the shell. Slowly, carefully, she reached inside. She lifted the child. It was small. Smaller than anyone expected after seeing such a massive egg. Its body was covered in soft feathers, light silver in color. But under the feathers, faint tones of human skin could be seen. Its hands were not claws. They had fingers. 5 fingers. Its wings were small and folded close to its back. Not strong yet. Its eyes opened slowly. They were not fully silver like the tribe. They were not fully brown like Ethan. They were both. The child looked around the cave quietly. Then it looked at Ethan. The moment their eyes met, the warmth in Ethan's chest turned into a steady, calm. Not heat. Not pain. Just connection. The child made a soft sound, not a cry, more like a question. Liram looked at Ethan. There was no fear in her eyes, only trust. Ethan stepped closer. Slowly. He reached out one hand. The child's small fingers wrapped around his. The cave filled with soft golden light, not bright like before, not explosive. Peaceful. The elder female gasped quietly. It has chosen, she whispered. The tribe leader stepped inside the cave. He looked at the child carefully. His strong face softened. This is not a weapon, he said quietly. This is balance. Outside, the sky slowly cleared. The dark clouds moved away. Even the wind felt different. Ethan looked down at the child. He did not understand how. He did not understand why, but he knew something important. This child was not an accident. It was not a mistake. It was evolution. The elder stepped closer. In our history, she said softly, there are stories of Skyborn. The tribe leader nodded slowly. Life that bridges worlds. She looked at Ethan. No such child has ever survived. Ethan frowned slightly. Why? Because fear always killed it first. The words were heavy. Ethan looked at the broken shell. Then, at the cave entrance, the Dominion ship was gone. But others could come. Other species. Other hunters. Curious minds. Greedy hands. The tribe leader spoke firmly. This child must grow in strength. He looked at Ethan. And you are tied to that strength. Ethan did not argue. He felt it clearly when he moved closer. The child's feathers shimmered. When he stepped back, the glow softened. The connection was real. Elira gently placed the child against her chest. It rested there, calmly. Its wings moved slightly. Small. Fragile. But alive. The elder raised her staff. We must perform the naming. The tribe gathered outside the cave again. Warriors stood in a wide circle. Feathers lifted in the wind. The child was brought into the center. The leader spoke loudly, so all could hear. This life was born from storm and bond. He looked at Ethan. It carries fire of human blood. He looked at Elira and the grace of sky wings. He lifted both hands toward the sky. We named this child. He paused. The wind moved softly. The child opened its mixed-colored eyes again. The leader continued. Solari. The tribe repeated the name together. Solari. The sound echoed across the cliffs. The elder touched the child's forehead. Gently, silver light moved across its feathers. Ethan felt a strange emotion Rise in him. Responsibility. Not forced. Chosen. He. Step forward. I will not leave, he said simply. The tribe leader studied him. You understand what that means? Ethan nodded. It means I stay. It means you protect. Yes. It means you are no longer only human. Ethan looked at Solari. The small hybrid child moved its tiny wings. He gave a small smile. I stopped being only human the night of the storm. Silence followed. Then, the leader nodded. Then you are sky-bonded. The tribe warriors lowered their heads in respect. Alira stepped beside Ethan, Solari between them. Above them. The sky was clear, but far in the distance, beyond the mountains, faint flash of distant ships moved across the stars. The galaxy had seen the energy burst. The galaxy now knew a new life existed, one that did not follow old rules. One that did not fear difference, one that carried both feather and fire. Solari made a soft sound again. Ethan placed his hand gently over the child's small wing. The warmth in his chest settled into something steady. Strong. Permanent. The storm had started this. The egg had changed everything. But the true challenge had just begun. Because the child of two worlds would not live quietly, and the galaxy does not stay calm when something new begins to rise. The wind carried soft music through hanging feathers. The tribe slowly returned to normal life, but nothing was truly the same. In only a few weeks, the small wings became stronger. The silver feathers became brighter. The soft brown lines across the wings deepened in color. And the eyes, those mixed silver-brown eyes, they watched everything carefully. Ethan trained every morning with the warriors. Not because they forced him, because he chose to. He learned how to move in the mountain winds. He learned how to balance on narrow crystal bridges. The tribe no longer looked at him as an outsider. They watched him with respect. He was sky-bonded now. Alira stayed close to Solari. But she was no longer only gentle. There was strength in her posture, pride in her voice. Solari would sit between them during the evenings inside the sacred cave. The blue fire still burned, just like the night everything began. But something new had started happening. When Solari laughed, small waves of light moved across the cave walls. One evening, the elder female entered the cave quietly. The tribe leader followed behind her. 3 ships this time. Ethan stood slowly. Dominion? The leader shook his head. No, others. Explorers, hunters, empires. News of Solari had spread beyond hidden signals now. Energy cannot stay secret forever. Solari looked upward. The child did not look afraid. The child looked aware. A soft sound left Solari's mouth, not a cry, not fear. Ethan felt it immediately. The warmth in his chest turned strong. Almost like pressure, Solari's feathers began to glow. Brighter than before. The tribe leader stepped back slightly. This is new, he whispered. The lights in the sky paused. The ships stopped moving forward. Inside the cave, Solari lifted one small hand toward the sky. A wave of energy burst outward. It was not violent, but it was powerful. Across the cliffs, every feather lifted into the air. The wind bent away from the village. High above, the approaching ships flickered. Their systems glitched. Their engines dimmed, not destroyed. Not attacked, warned. A message without words. The ships slowly turned away, one by one. They retreated into the darkness of space. Silence returned. This child is not only bridge, she said softly. This child is balance. Ethan knelt beside Solari. His voice was calm. The pressure in Ethan's chest faded. Peace returned. The tribe leader looked toward the stars. For centuries, he said quietly, we hid from the galaxy. He turned to Ethan. Now the galaxy hides from us. Ethan gave a small smile. Maybe they just need time, the leader nodded. Or maybe they need change. Days later, a human ship arrived. Earth Station had followed Ethan's signal. They came with questions, with scientists, with concern. Ethan stood at the edge of the cliffs as the human captain approached. "You caused a massive energy event," the captain said firmly. "Multiple systems detected it." Ethan looked back at Alira and Solari. Solari stood calmly between both worlds, not hiding, not afraid. No fear appeared in his eyes, only wonder. "What is she?" he asked quietly. Ethan answered simply, "The future." The human crew did not raise weapons. The tribe did not raise spears. For the first time, two species stood together without fear. Solari stepped forward, small wings lifted slightly. The mixed light shimmered around her. The wind moved softly through the feathers on the cliffs. Ethan looked at the sky. The storm that started everything was long gone. The massive egg was only a memory now, but what came from it was not small. It was not weak, it was not a mistake, it was proof that one night of survival, one spark of connection, could rewrite history. The galaxy would speak of the feathered child, of the human who stayed, of the tribe who chose protection over fear. But here, on the cliffs of Avara, they did not speak of legends. They simply watched the child of two worlds take her first real flight. And when Solari lifted into the sky, the heavens themselves seemed to open. The sky would never be the same again.